mateys. Welcome to Black Shell Sports Talk. It's your boy Goody Good. Pledge allegiance to the nation. Hit the like and subscribe button below if you're rocking with me. If not, you can walk the plank and go straight down to Davy Jones' locker, man. Today, a lot of stuff going on. You got media day at the Combine. You got Max Crosby on the pivot. Great interview. And I'm just excited about all the information we were able to get for the Raider Nation today. Let's start off with this. Max Crosby. How lucky are we to have a player like Max Crosby? And I've been saying this for years that, you know what? DC is not the face of this franchise. It's Max Crosby. And now that DC is gone, it should be very obvious to everybody in Raider Nation who the face of this franchise is. It's not Davante Adams. It's not Josh Jacobs. It's Max freaking Crosby. And we need to build around this guy. It's time that we actually take everything we have and build around this guy. The two players that we need to build around is Josh Jacobs, Max Crosby. Love Davante Adams, but Davante is about to be 30 years old. And he's a great piece, and hopefully he just spends the rest of his career with the Raiders. But we don't just go and get a quarterback just to please Davante Adams. This team needs to succeed in the future, and to do so, we have a player in Max Crosby that took a team-friendly deal for the next 4 seasons for us to get it right. And the way we get it right is we do what he just said in this pivot interview. We need to put some dogs around that man, okay? It can't be just 1 or 2 dogs. We need a bunch of dogs on defense and build around him. And when you listen to what Ziegler has said, that we may not have an immediate answer at quarterback this year. When you listen to what Josh McDaniels said at Media Day at the Combine, that, you know, what I got from it was it may cost too much to go up and snag the quarterback that we like. And whichever quarterback that drops to us at 7 may not be our guy. And therefore, we're not going to force ourselves to draft a quarterback at 7 just because we need a quarterback. It's other positions of need. And I love it. Okay, that might not be what the rest of the Raider Nation wants to hear, but it's exactly what I wanted to hear. I have more confidence in this front office than I had any regime in the last 20 years. I feel confident that they're going to build this team through the draft, which is exactly what we're supposed to do. And I'm going to go over some names that we could possibly get at 7, okay? Saying that we're not going to get a quarterback at 7 and we just roll with Stiddy, which I told you guys over and over again. Stiddy should be the number 1 answer for our quarterback this year. I love C.J. Stroud. I would bang the table for C.J. Stroud. But the thing is I don't think C.J. Stroud is going to be there at 7. And there's going to be so much competition bidding for us to trade up that it might be too expensive to trade up for C.J. Stroud. With 11 picks in this draft, we're probably better off sticking at 7 and just picking the best player available at 7. Okay, and that could be multiple guys depending on how you're looking at it. So I'm perfectly fine if they decide to roll with Jarrett Stidham for a year. Even in the pivot interview when Max Crosby started to name some quarterbacks, he said Rodgers, Jimmy G, and I like Jarrett Stidham. This is out of his mouth. That shows that regardless of what we think as the Raider Nation as fans, the teammates in that locker room have faith in Jarrett Stidham. So why shouldn't we? Davante Adams has said how he likes Jarrett Stidham. Josh Jacobs has had Jarrett Stidham's back. And now you have Max Crosby. That's the 3rd star on our team speaking up for Jarrett Stidham to be the quarterback. So if they feel that way, hey, why shouldn't we? Okay? And it's very obvious what Max Crosby wants this team to look like going forward. He wants some help. He's tired of being a bottom defense. He's tired of being the only one out there making big plays. And he feels like if there's more dogs around him, it's going to unleash him to be one of the best players in the NFL. And I believe him. Okay? I believe it. So with the number 7th overall pick, if we're not going quarterback, here are some names to look for. Okay? I've already told you guys about Christian Gonzalez. I think if we're going to pick a corner, I like him the best. Reason why he's not scheme dependent. He could play zone. He could play man. He's big. He can run like the wind. And he's a playmaker. Okay? Especially after he gets, an interception, he could take it to the house. I like Devin Witherspoon too. But if we're going to pick a corner, I like Christian Gonzalez. But in saying that, I started getting to thinking that, you know what? A corner by himself is not a impact player, especially on a defense that's devoid of talent. Okay? A defense that's devoid of talent, we have to start off with the trenches. So here's a couple of trench players that I like. The number 1 player that I would not mind drafting with 7 overall is Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. Now, my boy Sanjeet already had posted a video like a good month ago about Kalijah Kancey and how he is such a dominant player. And I started looking at tape at him, looking at games with him. And I'm going to tell you that I believe that Kalijah Kancey is the 3rd best defensive lineman in this draft. I would not mind at all if we picked him at 7. He kind of reminds me, he's not Aaron Donald. He's more of a Warren Sappish. He's very good at the pass rush. He disturbs everything when it comes to passing the ball. He could be a little bit better against the run, but he's still good against the run. He has the best hands as a defensive lineman in this draft, in my opinion. Now, you guys know Aaron Donald also went to Pitt. He spends a lot of time over there helping the young athletes over there and building the program. And we know that Aaron Donald trains with knives. He has his trainers trained with knives. I don't know if they have Kalijah Kancey doing the same thing, but I'm telling you, his hands are amazing. He has elite hands. He has elite technique when it comes to getting towards the quarterback. So I love Kalijah Kancey. I would not mind him at 7. I actually think that's a good fit for us to have him next to Max Crosby. Another guy that's opening my eyes is Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa. Now, I don't like this edge class. Let me start off with that. After Anderson, there's a huge drop-off in terms of the players in this edge class, in my opinion. Okay? But Lucas Van Ness is a guy that is huge. He's 280 pounds almost, but he's like pure muscle. He reminds me of Justin Tuck, somebody that could play on the outside, somebody that could play in the inside, has good pass rush. He could stop the run, very disciplined, good technique, more of a power rusher than a finesse rusher. He flashes off the screen in terms of power, okay? The guy is young, and I think he could be very good in our scheme. So that's somebody else that I like, and I would not mind us picking at 7 if it's not a quarterback. So you got Christian Gonzalez, you got Kalijah Kancey, and you have Lucas Van Ness. Now, after that, we start to go into different corners and different defensive tackles who I think would be good, but it would be a reach at 7. Okay? I like Ika out of Baylor. I think he could be a dominant force in the middle. very good for pass rushing at his size. I think he's close to. He's huge, man. I want to say he's like 350 pounds. Something huge, man. He's big. He's a big dude. And he's a big dude that can move. But I would be hesitant to pick him at 7th overall. I think he might even still be there at the 38th pick. But that's also somebody to watch out for if we decide to trade down from the 7th spot. Players like Emmanuel Forbes, Cam Smith, Keely Ringo. These are other corners that are in that conversation of being top 5 corners. So, if it's Devin Witherspoon or Keely Ringo, any of these corners I do like. I don't know if Keely Ringo or Cam Smith or Emmanuel Forbes are worth the 7th overall pick. The only 2 that I think are worth the 7th overall pick would be Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez. So if you're asking me which 4 players to look for at 7th overall on the defensive side of the ball, it would be Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, Kalijah Kancey, and Lucas Van Ness. Anybody else, I'd kind of be upset because I don't really like Tyree Wilson. I'm not a big fan of that. I know a lot of people do like him. What I saw from him, he wasn't even getting blocked most of the time when he was making his plays. I didn't see a lot of technique. He didn't go against very good players playing with Texas Tech. So I'm not a big fan of Tyree Wilson. Not saying that he could not be a good player. I'm just saying I didn't see anything that makes me want to jump on him as the 7th overall pick. I'm not a big Myles Murphy fan. At that point, I feel like he looks a lot like Cleveland Farrell. And, he's not dominant at pass rush. He's not dominant at, against the run. He's just a good player. And I still think he has a first-round grade. I just don't think he's worth a 7th overall pick. So, some other people that I might mention, sitting here trying to think because really this is a pretty weak draft class when it comes to the trenches. So I think that's what I'm going to keep my list at for the defensive players, which I think we should go defensive if we're not getting a quarterback. If we decide to build the offensive line, we might be able to have the first offensive lineman picked in the draft. And if we do go that route, I do like Paris Johnson Jr., Peter Skronsky, and Osiris Torrance if we decide to go offensive lineman. But yeah, I would like to build around Max Crosby, make this team dominant. If you guys think different, go ahead and comment below. And we could get in a discussion about it. Until then, Black Sails out.